Good morning, class. How are you today? Are you ready for our new lesson for this week? Okay, very good. So, today, class, we're going to have the topic conventions in citing sources. Are you ready? All right, let's begin. By the end of our lesson, everybody is expected to learn the following objectives. Number one, use conventions in citing sources. Number two, expand the content of an outline using notes from primary and secondary sources. Also, in this lesson, you are expected to identify the different conventions in writing references using the APA 7th edition formal and use this type in citing sources in your academic papers. Let's watch this short video and find out why we need to learn and do citations in your writing or in writing your academic papers.
Citations for beginners. You found some really cool information on the internet and you want to put it in your research project, huh? Sounds great! It's always a nice feeling when you find the perfect piece of information to include in your assignment. Now, before you place that information into your project, there's something you should know. You could get into trouble. Yep, that's right, a lot of trouble. For taking information from a source and putting it in your research project without sharing where you originally found it. It's called plagiarism. Plagiarism is when you take someone else's information and try to pass it off as your own. So what should you do if you want to include someone else's information in your research project? Well, it's okay to use information from other sources in your assignment. In fact, it's what you're expected to do. All you need to do is share where you originally found the information. Include what is called a citation in your research project. Citations are usually found at the end of research projects, and they include information about the original source. Here are a few items that are included in a citation: the name of the author, the title, and the date the information was created. There are other pieces of information that are included as well. So why do we create citations? Well, it's important to share where you found the information and give credit to the author. Also, if a classmate or teacher wants to look at the website that you used, they can use the information found in the citation to locate it themselves. And when you include citations in your research project, you're showing your teacher that you found great sources that relate to your topic. Now, what's tricky about citations is that you have to make them look a special way. Just like there are rules that you need to follow in school and on the bus, there are certain rules that you need to follow when putting together a citation. Here's how a citation would look for a website that I found on Tigers. You can see the author, title, the date the information was added to the website, and other pieces of information. Looks a little weird, right? Well, the good news is that you don't need to memorize or figure out how to place the information in this special format. You can use citation websites such as EasyBib to help make your citations quickly and easily. Let's do a quick wrap-up. Plagiarism is when you take someone else's information and try to pass it off as your own. It's okay to use information from other sources in your assignment. To prevent plagiarism, add citations for those sources. Citations need to be written in a specific way. Include the name of the author, title, date it was created, and sometimes other pieces of information. There are websites like EasyBib that help you create citations quickly and easily.
As it was mentioned earlier, citing sources is found at the latter part of a book or article. Using the guides below, which part shows the citation of sources employed? Let's answer a Very short activity, and you just need to guess what could probably be the word that we are looking for. First one is this one. So, how many letters do we have? 12 letters, and it starts with letter B. It has an I, it has a G, and it has H and Y. What do you think is the word? How about for the second word? It has 12 letters and it starts with letter R, with an F, an R, and an S at the end of the word. Can you guess it? Really? Okay, let's see if you were able to find the correct answers. And here are the answers for our short activity. What did you guess? And are you correct? Okay, let's find out. The first word is actually, yes, it's bibliography. And the second word is references. Did everybody get the correct answer? All right, very good. At this point, we are going to define what are citations, okay? So, citations are short way to uniquely identify a published work, for example, from a book, from an article, a chapter, or a website. They are found in bibliographies and reference lists and are also collected in article and book databases. Also, citing a source means that you show within the body of your text that you took words, ideas, figures, images, etc. from another place or from other references. Okay, so now I want you to carefully listen and study the difference and the similarities that we can find when we compare bibliographies and references. So when we say bibliographies, they contain all the sources that you have used for your paper, whether they are directly cited or not. In a bibliography, you should include of the materials you consulted in preparing your paper. Chicago citations and Oxford citations are two citation styles that use bibliographies. On the other hand, references include sources that have been directly cited in your paper. For each source, you will have at least one in-text citation in the body of your paper. The citation styles that use reference lists include APA citations, AMA citations, and MLA citations. But today, APA format is commonly used by scholars and students. So this is how bibliographies and references differ from each other. Let us find out what could probably be the similar thing that we know about bibliographies and references. So, both appear at the end of a written work and are usually organized alphabetically. A paper can have both reference list and a bibliography. So, these are bibliographies and references difference and similarities. Okay, next, what are the conventions in citing sources? So when we say APA, it stands for American Psychological Association, which is commonly used by scholars and students today, as I have mentioned earlier. So the APA 7th edition format features a number of ways in citing authors and their works. In this lesson, a few will be highlighted to guide you in basic referencing styles. So we are actually going to use the APA format, and this is in 7th edition already. So this is the updated format for the American Psychological Association. Do you still have any questions regarding bibliographies? If you may check your books now, if you have any book beside you, you can open that and check the back part of the book, and you can find the bibliographies that are listed in alphabetical order in that particular page. Now, I'm going to teach you on how you are going to arrange the details in coming up with a bibliography entry. So it will include the following: the author or the authors, if there is more than one, the copyright year, the title of the book, sometimes the edition is included, and the publisher. So, first, when we talk about the author or the authors, invert the names of authors. Last name comes first, followed by a comma, then the initials, both for first name and the middle initial. Initials are separated by a space. Follow the order of names as presented in the book. If there are two or more authors, the last author is usually separated by an ampersand. So this is an example of an author, and we have two authors here. We have two entries of authors. We have author 1, this is actually the surname, and then the first name and middle name initials, or maybe it can be the author has two names, so it has two initials. It will be having a end symbol here, and then the surname again of the author with a comma, and then the initials. Next, let's have the copyright or the period of time when this book is published. So we have here the copyright year. You're going to place it inside the parentheses, and do not forget to use a period by the end of this copyright after the parentheses. Next, we will have the title of the book. So the title of the book is written in italics. Capitalize only the first letter of the title. So I'm talking about this one. If the title has two parts, you're going to capitalize the first letters of the first and the second parts of the title. Capitalize if there is proper nouns, for example, the name of the country, um, maybe a name of a person, that should be capitalized. Only the proper nouns will be capitalized, but the rest of the words will be in small letters only. Capitalize again the proper nouns and end it with a period. Okay, there should be a period here. Okay, next, if the book has a volume or edition number, include it in parentheses after the title of the book. Edition is written as ed or ed. It is shortened in ed and then period. Okay, it is inside the parentheses. Seventh, and edition will be shortened into ed period and then parentheses, and then again end it with a period. In case to this example, we have the edition of the book, that's why there is no period by the end of the title. And so the period is written after the edition. But if the title of the book doesn't have any edition, then you can put the period by the end of this title. Okay? Next is the publisher or the name of the publishing company. You have to indicate the number of the publisher followed by a period. Do not include the location anymore. Before or during the previous edition of APA, we are including actually the location of the publisher. For example, if it's from New York or is it from Manila, something like that. But in the 7th edition of APA format, you are not supposed to write or include the location anymore, but it's only the name of the publisher. and then you end it again with a period. So one more thing is you have to indent the second and the next lines of your entry. So if the details are too long and you have to write it on the second line of your notebook or of your Word, if you're going to use Microsoft, you have to indent the second line as well as the next lines to be followed. Is that clear? Okay. Class, so for you to better understand what I was trying to explain earlier, I have here an example of on how you're going to make a bibliography entry. So I have mentioned earlier that the first detail that you have to write is the name of the author. So in this case, we have two authors. So we have Anderson, then you put a comma, then we have the initial B, and then a period. And then it will be having again the ampersand or the end symbol, followed by the surname again of the second author with a comma, and then the initial with a period. Okay? And then next is the copyright date or the um, how do you call this? The year of publication. Okay, so in here the year of publication is written inside the parentheses and then mark it again with a period. Okay, we are always using a period here by the end of every detail. Okay, the next one is the title of the book. In this example, we have two titles of the book: Imagine Communities, Reflections on the Origins and Spread of Nationalism's third edition. So I have mentioned earlier that if you have two titles, then you have to capitalize the first letters or the first letter of the first and the second title. So we have capitalized the letter I for imagine and the letter R for reflections. And then the rest of the words are written on small letters only. Okay? So there you go. Now, in case that there is an addition, you have to write that inside again the parenthesis, and then addition will be shortened into this ed period. After the parenthesis, again end it with a period. And lastly, of course, the name of the publisher, and it is Verso Printings. And then end it again with a period. So this is how you're going to make your entry for your bibliographies, and I hope you're able to somehow understand on how you're going to do that. Just follow these instructions on how you're going to do this and try to do it on your own after our discussion. So this time, I want to tell you that there are different formats that we can use for the entry of books, because there will be different types of entries for the books. So let's have first the single author. When you say single author, it means that the book has only one or single author. And this is how you're going to do it, or this is an example of what a single author book is. So we have here the name of the author, Bermudez, comma, L for initial of her name or his name, period, and then followed again by a copyright or the year of publication inside the parentheses, and then again there is a period. Next is the title of the book, which is The Journey to the End of Asia, and that is written in italicized. All right? And then you have to capitalize the first letter of the title, and then followed by the addition, which is in second edition, and that is again inside the parentheses, and let's end it again with a period. And then lastly, we have the name of the publication company. Okay, All right, so next we have here De Chavez as our author, comma, and then we have the initial for his name, which is J, and then there is a period. Followed again by the year of publication, which is 2020, and that is inside the parenthesis. Okay? And then again, mark it with a period. Next is the title of the book, which is Pagsibol, Batayang Aklat sa Pagkatuto sa Filipino. Again, it is written in italics or it is italicized. And we have two entries of the title, or we have two titles, and so the first letter of the title are actually capitalized. So we have P for Pagsibol and B for Batayang, and the rest of the words are in small letters except for the word Filipino, since this is a proper name. That's why we have to capitalize the letter F and then end it with a period. And then lastly again, how do you call this? How do you call this detail? All right, very good. So that is the name of the publication of the mentioned book, and then end it with again with a period. Okay? That sounds easy, right? So this is how you're going to do your entry for single author if the book has only one author. This time, class, we're going to have two authors of the book, or the book has two authors. So for example, we're going to have one example here, and let me discuss to you again. So again, it will begin with the author's name. So this time we have two authors. We have Cadabido, and then we have the comma, initials J period and S period, followed by a comma, and then we have here the end symbol. And then we have the second author, who is Bermudez. Then we have the comma, and then initial L for the name, and then we have the period. Again, followed by the publication year, or the year of publication, which is 2017, inside the parentheses, and then mark it with a period. And then we have the title of the book, which is Living as Students Overseas. And again, we have to capitalize only the first letter, or the letter of the first word, which is living, and then the rest of the words will be in small letters only, and then mark it or end it with a period. And then lastly, we have the name of the publication, which is Relk Press. If you would notice, class, we have here the URL, and then it is written by the end of the publication name. Why is it written there? Because in this particular book, it is also available on the internet. That's why we have included the URL, and this is how you're going to write it. Okay? Next, we have Balaugan as our first author, and then comma, and then the initials E with a period and T with a period, and then a comma again. And then we have the end sign and the surname of the second author. We had the comma, the initials with a period, and so we have here the year of publication inside the parenthesis, which is 2017. We have the period, and then we have the title, Understanding the Complex Behavior of Adolescents. So again, what are we going to capitalize? Okay, very good. We're going to capitalize again only the first word, which is understanding. The first letter of the first word, which is letter U for understanding, and the rest will be on small letters only. We cannot see any proper name, that's why we are not going to capitalize any other words except for understanding. So this time, we're not going to put period here yet because we have the edition. So we have fourth edition inside the parentheses, and then mark it with a period, and then lastly we have the name of the publication company or the publishing company, which is Kainta and Kainta, and then end it with the last period. Okay, so remember as well that we are actually arranging our entries for our bibliographies. It should be in alphabetical order. So in case that you are going to put these two entries in your bibliographies, which comes first, students? All right, so Balaugan will be the first one to come, and then followed by Cadabido, since we are following the rule that it should be in alphabetical order. Okay, next, let us have the edited book or editors with no author. Okay, this is edited book with no author. So let us have the example. We have um, Marlena as the surname of the editor, and then we have the comma, and then we have the RG for initials with period. It says here ed, which means editor, okay? Marlena here is not the author but the editor only because the book has no author. So it will be inside the parentheses, we have ed period inside the parentheses and then followed by a period. Again, we have the year of publication inside the parentheses, period, and then we have the title of the book, which is in italics, or it should be italicized, and the first word only will be in capital letter, and then followed, and then end with period, and then followed by the name of the publication, and then end it with a period. Easy, right? Next, we have Panga as the editors, and then we have the comma, we have AF with a period, initials F with a period, and then followed by a comma. Okay, and then we have the end here, and then we have the second editor who is Chua, and then followed again by a comma. We have the initials T and D with a period, and then we have the EDS period inside the parentheses, which means editors, okay, and then with a period again. The copyright year, which is 2018, inside the parentheses, and then period. And then we have the title Curriculum Management in ASEAN Member States. And then we have the period. Again, capitalize the first letter of the first word. And then ASEAN is written this way because it is an acronym for a certain bureau or department. Okay, international department. And then next is the ASEAN Press, which is the publishing company, and then end it again with a period. Now, if you would notice, it is already in alphabetical order. We have Marlena and we have Panga, and Marlena or M comes first before P, and so this is how you're going to put these two entries for your bibliographies for books that do not have author but only editors. For this entry class, we're going to have the edited book, but this time we have the author or the authors. Okay, so let us follow the example given. First, we are going to have the name of the author. Okay, this is the name of the author. We have Cadabido as the surname, comma, we have the initials J and S with a period and then comma. We have the end symbol followed by the second author, Bermudez, comma, and then we have the L initial for the name, and then we have the period, followed by the copyright or the year of publication 2017 inside again the parenthesis, and then we have the period, followed by the title of the book, which is Living as Students Overseas, and the first word is capitalized. The letter L is capitalized and the rest of the letters are in small letters only. Now, since this is edited book, so we have editors, and in here we have the editor name or the editor's name, which is RG as initials with a period, and then we have here the surname. If you would notice, class, when you write the name of the editor, that is after the title of the book, and the initials will come first before the surname. Okay? And then we have here the ed period inside the parentheses, which means editor, and then end it with a period, and then lastly again the name of the publication or the publishing company and end it with a period. Is that understood? Okay, let's have another example. We have here two authors again, and this time we have as well two editors. Okay, so first let's have the author. We have Gibas, comma, E and F as initials with period and then a comma. We have the end symbol next with the name of the second author, comma, J and E with a period as the initials of the name. And then we have the year of publication 2018 inside again the parentheses and then we have the period. Next with the title of the book, which is Curriculum Management in ASEAN member states. So again, capitalize the first letter of the first word, which is C, and then ASEAN should be written this way, and then end it with a period. Followed by the editors, again, you're going to write first the initials of the name, which is A and F with a period, followed by the surname of the first editor. Since we have two editors, you're going to put end symbol here. And then we have again the initials of the name of the author or of the editor rather, and then followed by the surname of the editor. This time we're going to have EDS since we have two editors with a period inside the parentheses. Mark it with a period by the end of it, and then lastly again the name of the publishing company, and lastly end it with a period. Okay, so again, this is in alphabetical order. So we have C and then we have G to consider. So class, what if there are 3 to 20 authors of the book that you have used for your research paper? How are you going to write these authors in your bibliography entry? Okay, so you have to remember, okay, include all the names until the 20th author. Yes, you heard me right. You have to include one by one based on how it is written on the book itself, the names of the authors until the last one or until the 20th author. Okay, that's how you're going to do that. Let's have an example. So, I'm not supposed to one by one read to you the names of the authors, but if you would notice, class, again, it has the same format, okay? You're just going to write first, of course, the surname of the author with a comma and then initials, and then followed by a comma, and then followed by the next names of the authors. If you come up with the last name of the author, or if you come up if you have already the last or the 20th author, that is the time that you are going to write the end symbol and then followed by the 20th author. Okay, and the rest will be followed. The name of the copyright or the year of publication, the title of the book, which is italicized. It has the 8th edition. And lastly, we have the name of the publishing company again, ended with a period. Okay, remember you have to include all the names until the 20th author. But if you only have 3, then you have to include the 3. If you have 10, you have to include 10 names. Then maximum for this example is 20 author or the 20th author. Okay? All right. Okay, we are done. We are not yet done, class. Okay? What if you have used information from a book that has more than 20 authors? So there will be 21, 22, 23, and so on and so forth. What are you going to do, or how are you going to write it in your bibliographies? Okay? Remember again, class, take note, bear in your mind that if there are more than 20 authors, write the names of the first 19. Again, write the names of the first 19 authors followed by an ellipsis. This is how you're going to write ellipsis. It's like periods in a row, okay? And then you're just going to write the last name of the author. Again, if there are more than 20 authors, all you need to do is to write the first 19 names of the authors and then just followed it with ellipsis and then just write the last name of the author. Okay? For example, we have here the first 19 authors from the book that you have used for your research paper or for your academic papers. We have Dino 1, Guerrero 2, Araujo 3, Katungal, this is the fourth one, Kaya, we have Kaya, we have De Leon, we have Manalo, we have Mendoza, and so on and so forth. And then you come up with the 19th author, which is, or who is Lielgado A.L. This is your 19th author. That's why we're going to stop writing the names of the authors there. And then you're just going to write the ellipsis, which is the 3 periods, okay? The line of 3 periods. And then followed by the last name of the author, which is Maano, comma, M.R., and then with with periods, okay, for the initials. And then again, followed by the publication year inside the parentheses with a period, and then the title of the book, which is in italicized, and just capitalize the first word as well as the proper name. We have here the proper name English, that's why it is in capital letter, and the rest of the words are in small letters only. Have it with a period, and then lastly the name of the publishing company, which is Bantayog Publishing House, and then end this entry with a period again. Okay, is that understood? I hope so, class. I hope everybody is able to understand on how you're going to write your bibliography entries for books. So let us have some practice, okay? Let us practice, and let's use the learning task 3 from your module. Although I did some modification in the entry so that it will be the same with what I have discussed to you earlier. So, you're going to use the information in the box. You're going to convert them into one bibliographical entry. Okay? So, I'll be giving you the information for the 3 items. We have the authors, we have the title of the book, we have the year of publication, and then we have the publisher. Okay? Okay, take note of this one. I have some mistakes here. Parents should be included for the title, okay? And then we have the year of publication, which is separate information, okay? Thank you. So that is for number 1. I'll be giving you 2 minutes to accomplish this one. Follow the instructions that I have given you earlier and put these details or put this information in your paper, and I'll be checking on that, or we will be checking on that later after this 2 minutes. Okay, are you ready? Okay, you're ready now. So, we only have 55 seconds left. Last 15 seconds. And 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Okay, time is up. Now let us check your work. And the answer for number 1 is check your own paper and then do some corrections if there are, okay? So it will be Rivera, comma, M period, comma, end symbol, Dantes, comma, D initial, period, and then followed by 2015 inside the parentheses, and then period, and then the title of the book on becoming responsible parents. Dapat it should be italicized, okay? And then we have capitalized the word, the first letter of the word on. And then period, and then the name of the publication, which is Artista Press. Also, take note ha, the second line should also be indented. Dapat nakapasok po. Ano, yung pangalawang line natin. Who got it correct? Okay, very good for those who got it correct. Okay, let us have number 2. We have the author, Violeta S. Anderson, the title of the book. We have the year of publication, and we have the publisher. Okay, time starts now. Last 3 seconds. Time is up. Okay, so this is the answer for number 2. We have Anderson, comma, V period S period 2020 inside the parenthesis period with the title An Introduction. We have the colon, which is the two dots here, and then we have the online education in the new normal. That will be our title, and the an is capitalized and the online is also capitalized since they are the first words for our two titles. Okay, and then we have the period, and then we have St. Anthony Publications as the publishing company, and then with a period by the end of it. Okay, again, the second line should be indented. Okay, so very good for those who got it correct. I hope most of you got it in the correct answer. Okay, lastly, for our learning task number 3, this is the last item. We have the author, we have the title of the book. This time you will see that there is an edition. Oh, it's edition. Sorry for that. It's an edition. This is the 15th edition, the year of publication, and then the publisher name. Okay, so let us have our 2 minutes. And last, 30 seconds. Last 2 seconds. And there you go. Time is up, class. The answer for item number 3 for our last item is Salumbides, comma, V period, D period, 2012 inside the parenthesis period, experiencing golden benefits of aging. That is in italics, or it should be italicized. Letter E for experiencing should be capitalized. And then we have the 15th edition. So 15th, ED period inside the parentheses and then period. And then lastly, Vidanes Publishing as our publication. And then end your entry with a period. Alright, so that's our last item for today. I hope most of you got 3 and 2, but 1. If you got 1, correct out of 3 items, then you have to do something. You have to practice more so that you can learn how to do this or how to do bibliographical entry. All right, so let us stop for the meantime. We're going to continue the rest of our lessons later. For the meantime, let's do the other learning tasks that you have in your module. Thank you so much, class. And I hope you were able to learn somehow with the slides that you have, or that the slides that I have prepared only for you. Thank you very much. Goodbye for the meantime.